In the beginning of the movie, we are introduced to Victoria, the CEO of Code Industries, who is accompanied by her scientist Harry and her bodyguard Conrad. They go to a research center, but her right-hand man Conrad tells her that they won't find what they're looking for there. Then we are shown the inside of the object. Inside is a scarab, which is used to power Blue Beetle. Victoria has been looking for it for a long time. So Victoria says, "I'm sure it's here." Victoria had a brother who was working on this project, but he suddenly disappeared. So now Victoria is working on it. Then we are introduced to a boy named Jamie. He returns home after studying law and meets his family. He also meets his uncle, named Rudy, who is also a scientist. Jamie's mom tells Jamie that our house is in a very bad condition. We are living in poverty. So Jamie says, "You would have told me earlier, I would have come back too," but she says, "I wanted to see my son educated and now we have succeeded in that, so now you will definitely get a job." The next day, we see Jamie and his sister working. They are cleaning a rich person's house, and that house belongs to Victoria. Now we see Victoria, her niece comes to meet her, named Jenny. But Jenny is angry there, so Victoria asks her the reason. So Jenny says, "I saw a video, in which you have started working on that project again, which my father had closed. He made a device that, if it is put on any soldier, then that soldier alone would be heavy on the army of millions." Jenny is angry about this, but Victoria says, "Your father is now dead, and now I am the owner of this company, so now only my will run here." While they are talking to each other, Jamie and his sister arrive there and interfere in their conversation, then Victoria fires them both. Jenny leaves Victoria's house and meets the two of them. Jenny gives Jamie her number and invites him to her company, saying that she will give him some small work to do. The next day, Jamie arrives at the company all dressed up and asks about Jenny. The assistant tells him to wait, so he sits down and waits. Then we are shown a scene from the top of the company. Harry is standing next to the Blue Beetle scarab, but then he has to go to the bathroom. Jenny arrives and steals his card, and then she steals the scarab and puts it in a burger box before leaving. As Jenny is leaving the company, Jamie starts to chase her, and at the same time, the alarms start to go off because Harry has realized that the scarab has been stolen. She gives the burger box to Jamie and tells him to take it home and not to open it, and Jamie does just that. He takes the box and leaves. Jamie arrives at his home with the burger box, and there he shows it to his family. His family asks him to open it. After opening the box, they see a Blue Beetle sculpture inside, and Jamie picks it up. At that moment, the sculpture becomes active and attaches itself to his face. Everyone there gets scared, but the beetle enters his body and transforms his entire body into a Blue Beetle in a dangerous way. Information about his family starts appearing from inside the suit, and there's also an assistant inside, who starts communicating with him. The assistant's name is Kajida. She says, "All right, get ready to see the power," and then she lifts him and takes him into space, and then she brings him back to Earth very quickly. But right at that moment, a bus comes in front of him, and the suit's shield activates, splitting the bus into two pieces. Then the suit takes him back inside his house and deactivates it. Once deactivated, he becomes naked and is overcome by fear, even losing consciousness. However, when he wakes up in the morning, he sees that the scrap has completely merged with his back, and now he is fully activated. He gets scared upon seeing this and starts dressing to go to Jenny to deactivate this thing. But as Jamie reaches Code Industries, he witnesses a fully deployed force behind Jamie, so he puts him in his car and takes him inside his house. Then Jamie brings that girl inside his house and asks her to explain about the scrap. She starts by saying that her father created it and her father had set such settings in it. It chooses its owner by itself, and this time it has chosen you. But Victoria wants to misuse it. She wants to use its power to create suits for the entire world, after which Victoria will have the most powerful army, and she can destroy the whole world. Then Jimmy says that we will have to deactivate it. I don't want to be associated with it at all. Then Jenny says, "Okay, I will have to go inside my father's old house for that, but I need a key for that, and the key is inside Code Industries, so we'll have to go there and steal the key." Then Rudy says, "No problem, I have a device to hack cameras, and I'll install it on my truck and take it there." After a while, he reaches Code Industries. Rudy hacks the camera and cartoon channels appear on their camera. During this time, they both infiltrate the companies and steal the key from there. But as soon as they leave the company, Victoria's right-hand man, Conrad, attacks them, and Jamie's suit activates, transforming him into Blue Beetle, starting a dangerous battle. However, Conrad is no pushover. Victoria had given him a super suit in which a lot of work was still in progress, and the power of Blue Beetle had not been fully integrated into that suit. Blue Beetle and Conrad clash, but Blue Beetle is not yet skilled in combat. As a result, Conrad gets the upper hand. Afterward, Rudy is behind them in his car and throws a hacking device at him, causing him to fall off. Then, all three of them arrive at Jenny's father's house. Upon arriving there, Jenny opens a bunker with the help of her key, underneath which is Jenny's father's lab, and Rudy is delighted to see this scene, greatly impressed by her technology. He begins to understand the technology of Blue Beetle and sits down at the computer, where he tells Rudy that once the scrap selects a human, it cannot be removed from their body because it is connected to their DNA and cells, and if we try to remove it, Jamie's life could also be in danger. But Rudy tells Jamie to be happy that he is now a superhero and has superpowers. Jamie gets angry and sits on the terrace, and then Rudy explains to him that the whole world is crazy for these powers and he got this power because of Jenny. At the same time, Jenny sees a high-tech plane flying towards Jamie's house, and they realize that Victoria is now going after their family. So Jamie says let's activate the suit, but it doesn't activate. Then Jenny explains to him that he will have to jump from here. When my suit sees me in trouble, it will activate, and then he does the same. He jumps from the building and the suit activates. Victoria arrives at their house with her army and takes their family out and puts them at gunpoint. But at the same time, Blue Beetle arrives there and starts fighting with all the soldiers and defeats them. Beetle tells his family to run away and starts fighting with the soldiers himself. Jenny tells him that she will kill them all there, but Beetle says no. You just injure them, and then they use blue color power, which makes all the soldiers fall far away. But inside the helicopter above, Conrad uses a gun with a claw attached to it. Beetle is also fully prepared to compete with that weapon, but at the same time, his father has an attack, then his attention is distracted and there the same claw falls on him and takes control of his suit. After that, Beetle cannot use his power and there is a very emotional scene. His father also dies and Victoria takes him in her helicopter and takes him away from there. At the same time, his family's entire house is destroyed, seeing which they become very sad and say that we only had one house. Victoria also destroyed it. The next day, Jamie's grandmother calls everyone and gives them a speech that we should not lose Jamie in any way. And Jenny says there that I will help you all. So Jenny takes them inside her father's lab. There, his father had built a very high-tech car, which was in the shape of a beetle. So they start their journey inside it and start going to Victoria's industry. And on the way, Jenny shows them her father's high-tech weapons, which have some shields and a punch. And grandmother gets a very powerful type of gun and says that I will use it on Victoria. Now on the other side, Victoria hangs Jamie in the machine and is completely ready to extract his power from him and put it in Conrad. Just then, Jamie asks Harry for help. But Harry says he can't do anything. Now we see Victoria. Victoria says that this technology you are using is actually my technology, so I can take it back at any time. Harry says that this could also cost his life. But Victoria says I don't care about it. In the meantime, Beetle reaches the place and causes a lot of damage. He buries all the soldiers there. Then it becomes a spider. His feet also come out and he starts crushing all the soldiers. In the end, he also releases gas from his rear, after which all the soldiers faint there. Then they all enter the lab. Jenny sees something there. Victoria is making a lot of beetles. It only lacks the power of Blue Beetle, which is about to be given to him now. Then we are shown Conrad. The power starts coming out of him. On the other hand, Beetle's health also starts to deteriorate because the power is coming out of him. Then we are shown the same person inside his mind, who is present in a different world. In that world, he meets his father. His father inspires him a lot. On this side, Jenny also puts bombs all over the factory and activates them. Then we are shown Jamie's father again. He is inspiring Jamie a lot. He shows him a suit and says that this is my Blue Beetle. You have to go and touch it. Then, before the place is destroyed, Jamie starts running towards the suit and touches it. The power transfer is also 99% complete, and then it is also 100%. This means that Conrad now also has all the power of Blue Beetle. At the same time, Jenny activates those bombs and blasts them, causing a huge explosion. Blue Beetle is also freed there, but the energy of his suit is completely exhausted. Then Harry helps him there and opens the door for him. But Conrad comes from behind and kills Harry there too. Then Blue Beetle starts running away from there and Conrad starts chasing him. Some guards come in front of Jamie, and at that time his suit's power is also not complete. Then there is an entry from behind with Grandma's same fast gun, and she kills all the soldiers there and is quite happy. Meanwhile, Victoria reaches Jenny and arrests her and takes her away. And here we are also shown Jamie's sister, in which she uses the same punch and shield and fights with many soldiers. But from behind comes Blue Beetle, whose suit is now charged. At the same time, Conrad also reaches there. And he takes Conrad flying away. And they fight in the air, in which Conrad beats Beetle a lot. Then they reach a castle. Inside which Blue Beetle also activates his swords etc. and uses his weapon quite well. And there is a very tough fight between the two. Blue Beetle and Conrad also have a very strong fight. But Conrad starts attacking Rudy and throws a bomb on him, which makes Blue Beetle very angry. And then he uses his real power. In the helicopter, Victoria tells Jenny that I have saved the code of Blue Beetle and now I can make millions of Blue Beetles and now I will rule the whole world. But Jenny spits a high-tech bubble there, which spreads throughout the helicopter and the helicopter is destroyed there. Jenny and Victoria both fall down inside the same bubble. Meanwhile, Blue Beetle knocks Conrad down and starts to kill him with his sword. But Kajita stops him there and says, "Have you forgotten your no-killing policy?" But Jamie tells him that he killed my father and Rudy. I can't let it go. And then Kajita shows him Conrad's old life, in which his mother was with him and she died in the war. Then he grew up and became a soldier. But he was injured in the army, which slightly burned his body. And then Victoria used him for an experiment. Victoria controlled him entirely. This means that Conrad had no fault there. Rather, Victoria controlled him. Conrad also remembers all these things and he also understands that Victoria is his enemy. And here Jenny breaks the device that contains the codes of Blue Beetle. Blue Beetle and Conrad both get up. Where Victoria tells Conrad to kill both of them. But Conrad does not do so and tells them to go. And he himself drags Victoria inside with his suit. After which there is a huge explosion there and the entire industry is also destroyed. But Blue Beetle is still outside the ship. So Jenny grabs his hand and takes him inside the ship. And then they activate the ship and escape from there. But after going inside the ship, Jamie sees that Rudy is alive. And Rudy had survived with the help of that ship. And then we are shown a scene of a few days later, in which Jenny is now the CEO of Cord Industries. And she has taken over the industries. Jamie's whole family stands in front of their house. And Jenny comes there. And she says that I have bought this entire place. Now you are the owner of this place. And you can also build your new house here. And she also gifts Rudy a new car. And says that you will now work as a scientist here. And you will be a senior scientist in my company. And there is also shown the love of Blue Beetle and Jenny. They both even kiss each other. And then Blue Beetle takes her flying in the air. And here the movie ends. How did you like this movie? Do tell us by commenting. And do subscribe to our channel.